Hello everyone, welcome to the operating system class. I am Nitya S, Assistant Professor, Department of PCE. I am going to handle your operating system. Today, the first topic we are going to talk about introduction to the operating system and goals of an operating system. So the module 1 is nothing but the introduction to the operating system. So in that, the first topic we are going to talk about introduction to the operating system and also your goals of operating system. Apart from that, in module 1, what and all the topic we are going to talk about? We are going to talk about the abstract view of an operating system, goals of an operating system, operations of an operating system, computational structures, resource allocation techniques, efficiency, system performance, and user convenience, classes of operating system. In that class, we are going to talk about the batch processing, multi-programming, time sharing, and real-time and distributed operating systems. So these are the things which we are going to talk about in this module 1. So today we are going to talk about introduction to the operating system. What is the operating system and what are the goals of an operating system we are going to talk about. So the first we are going to talk about introduction to the operating system. Actually, the operating system, it is nothing but an intermediary device which is between the user and the computer. The operating system, which is also called as OS, simply which is also called as OS, it is an intermediary between user and computer. And this operating system which provides the set of services and features to the users. So it enables the set of services and features to the users, whatever which is required depends on that. It will provide the services and features to the users. Actually, the OS have to deal with the three issues. The one is efficient use of the computer system, the convenience of the user, and preventions of interference with the user activities. So these are the things mainly the OS have to deal with. Okay. So generally, the operating system, it is nothing but an intermediary device between the user and the computer system. Without operating system, we cannot do anything. We cannot access the computer. So just you think over, without the operating system, how can we operate the computers and desktops and all? We cannot operate it, right? So that operating system, which is it's like the intermediary device between the users and also your computer systems. And it provides the set of services and features to the user. And that service and the features may be differ depending on the operating system. There are many types of operating systems are there. Depending on that may vary. Okay, now first we'll see what is the abstract view of an operating system. So abstract view of an operating system. Now we'll see what is an operating system. Abstract view. What is an operating system? Abstract view. See, the view of an operating system is different depending on the persons. So if I ask anybody what is an operating system, their view is different. So the definitions are the operating system view may different depending on the people's perception. Okay. So if I ask to the college students what is an operating system, so that student will tell that the operating system, it is nothing but an software that permits access to the internet. Okay, if I ask the same question to the programmer, so that programmer will tell the software, it is nothing but a software that makes us to develop the applications or the programs by using that operating system, using a computer. Okay, so this is the answer from the programmer's view. Similarly, the application packages. When I ask to the users of an application packages, I will ask what is the operating system. They will tell about the operating system. It is nothing but a software that makes it possible to use the packages. What and all the packages which is available, we can use the packages. It depends on by using that operating system. To the technicians in a computerized chemical plant, if I ask them, they will tell about the operating system. It is nothing but an invisible components. So they will not work on the operating system. So that operating system which is inside the computer, so that computer will control all the chemical plants. Okay, so they cannot see the computer operating system. So that operating system is nothing but an invisible component or invisible device of a computer system. That computer system which controls the plant. So the computer system will not work without the operating system. So by using the computer systems only you can able to control the plants. So the operating system is very much important. So the operating system since their purposes are different, their perceptions of the OS that is are also different. So the pupil views are different depending on their usage. Okay, so the perception may change depending on the view. So that abstract view which focus only on the essential characteristics. That abstract view which focus only on the essential characteristics. That is called abstract view of an operating systems. Now, so after this, the second topic from the module 1 is goals of an operating systems. So there are fundamental goals of an operating systems are efficient use of a computer resource and user convenience and non-interference in the activities of its user. Okay, so there are three goals of an operating system. One is efficient use, second one is user convenience, and third one is non-interference in the activity. That is non-interference. So what is the efficient use? Efficient use of a computer resource. So it ensures the efficient use of a computer systems. So whatever the resource which is connected to that, it is efficiently using for the particular executions or not. So it makes sure that one of the goals of an operating system is efficient use of a resource. Okay, second one is user convenience. It provides the convenient methods of using a computer systems. And third one is non-interference. It prevents the interference in the activities of its user. Okay, it prevents the interference in the activities of its user. So these are the three main goals of an operating system. So now we are going to talk about in detail about the goals of an operating system. So when these goals are conflict, the designer makes a trade-off for the efficient use and also a user convenience. So the effective utilization, it is nothing but each OS which provides the different flavor of the effectiveness. Okay, so I told you that the different operating, there are various operating systems are available, types of operating systems are available. Depending on that, the services is also added. Okay, so that for example, the Windows 10, the operating system, Windows operating system, and so like that there are many operating systems are there, like that the Linux operating systems are there, like that there are many operating systems are there. That features is also different, that provides the different flavors of effectiveness. Okay, now we are going to talk about in details of our goals of an operating system. So it is one of the important question, the goals of an operating system. Just make a note, it is a important question and also the repeated question. Okay, so the first we'll see what is the efficient use of an operating systems. So an OS must ensure the efficient use of fundamental computer systems, fundamental computer system resource of memory, CPU and IO devices such as disk and also a printer. Okay, so must ensure the efficient use of a resources like the memory, CPU and input output devices. So that poor efficiency can result if a program does not use a resource allocated to it. For example, if the memory or IO devices allocated to the program remains idle, okay, Such a situation may have a snowballing effect. That means that particular resource which is not used by that particular program, which is allocated to that resource, to the program. So that resource which is needed by the other programs, but that program is also in idle state and this is also in idle state, it is not in used state. So that particular resource is not used effectively. Efficiently it is not used. So OS must ensure the efficient use of the resource, like on memory, CPU and IO devices, like on disk and also a printer. Okay, in addition, the OS itself consumes some of the CPUs and also a memory resources. Memory resource during its own operation, and its consumptions of the resource constitutes an overhead that also reduces the resource available to the user programs. So some of the CPUs and memory resources separately it is allocated to the OS itself for own use. Okay, for the internal use, the some CPUs and the memory resources are allocated. So if that in that time, if the sum of the uses which is required, the CPU and also resources, memory resources, that time the overhead will arises. Okay, so it reduces the user programs, I mean resources for the user programs. Okay, so for that the OSly to achieve the efficiency. Okay, to achieve the good efficiency, the OS must continuously monitor the use of resources to ensure the efficiency. So it would increases the overhead. Okay, so the OS uses the policies that ensure the efficiency. So whenever it is necessary, that particular resource must be allocated to the program for execution. Once if it is completed, that program, whatever the resource which is allocated to the program, that must be removed from that particular program and put it into the common place. Okay, so this is the efficient use of computer system. Okay, the resource of operating systems. So one of the goal is efficient use of an operating system. So it must ensure the efficient use of a resource which is available in the operating systems, and also continuously to monitor the resource allocation to ensure the efficiency. Okay, so this is all about your efficient use of an operating systems. Now the next one is user convenience. User convenience. User convenience has many facts that are fulfillment of necessity, good service, user-friendly interface, new programming model, and the web-oriented features and evaluations. So these are the factors of user convenience. Now we'll see the examples of these facts. First one is the fulfillment of necessity. So what does that mean? The examples of that is the ability to execute the program and use the file systems. Okay, whatever the necessity which is available. Okay, so the ability to execute the program, use the file systems. And good services. When we'll tell it is on good services, when it is speed execution and then response. So based on that, we'll tell about it is on good service. Okay, so the example I can tell it is nothing but a speedy response to the computational request. So the depending on the request, so whatever our request, it is executed fastly or within a second. If it is executed, then we can tell it is nothing but on good services. And the user friendly interfaces, easy to use commands and graphical user interface. Okay, so it is a user-friendly interface. If it isn't very easy to use that particular interfacing or that particular operating system, then we can tell it is nothing but a user-friendly interfaces. New programming model. So in that the concurrent programming. So the concurrent programs can be executed at a time. And web-oriented features. That means to set up the web-enabled services. And evaluation. Add the new features and use the new computer technologies. So these are the examples of the user facts. So there are number of facts facts of the user convenience. So one is the fulfillment of necessity, good service and user-friendly interface and new programming model and web-oriented features and also evaluation. For that, these are the examples. So next is non-interference. So the computer users can face a different kinds of interference in his computational activity. Okay, so in non-interference, the user can face the different kinds of interference in his computational activity. So that program execution or the operations of the OS can be interrupted by actions of the other persons. Okay, so the OS prevent the interference by allocating the resources for exclusive use of programs and the OS services and preventing the illegal access to the resource. Okay, so the illegal file access. So it attempts by any other persons to access his file are illegal. To prevent this form of interference, and OS has to know which file of the users can be accessed by which person. So it is achieved through the authorization. Okay, so the OS uses this form, this information to prevent the illegal access to the file. So this is all about your goals of an operating system. So today's class we have talked about what is an operating system, what is the abstract view of an operating systems and the goals of an operating system. So in that the operating system, it is nothing but intermediary between the user and also a computer systems. Okay, the next if we ask the depending on the person, the view of an operating system may different. So it is called abstract view of an operating systems. So if I ask to the students, if I ask to the programmer, if I ask to the labor which is works in a computer plant, so their operating system, their view of an operating systems are different. Okay, so depending on the OS designer, that operating system can be defined in 3 layers. One is the user interface, non-kernel routines and also a kernel. Okay, so the user interface which accepts the command, and non-kernel routine which implements the user command, and third one kernel which controls the operations. Okay, which is lies in between the user and also a computer system. So this is what we discussed in the introduction to the operating systems. And the next is the goals of an operating system. So in that we have discussed about the goals, 3 goals: efficient use and also user convenience and non-interference. Efficient use is nothing but the efficient use of an operating system, whatever the resource which is there, so that must be efficiently utilized by all the programs. Okay, so for that to achieve the efficiency, the OS must monitor the resource allocations. So after once the executions are completed, that must be removed from the particular program. So this is the efficient use of on computer systems. And second one is user convenience. So in user convenience, there are different facts are there. In that is a fulfillment of the necessity and also a good service, user friendly interface and new programming models, web oriented features and also evaluations. So these and all the user convenience. For that examples we have to write. And non-interference, the different kinds of interference which occurs in his computational activity, so that the executions of the program may be interrupted or interrupted by the other person, the actions of the other process. For that the OS must allot the some resources, prevents the such interference by allocating the resources for the exclusive use of one program, and then OS services, and preventing the illegal access to the resource, and then illegal file access. So the OS always monitor which users access that particular file. Okay, so this can be achieved by using the authorization. So this is all about your introductions of an operating system and goals of an operating system. Next class we'll talk about the operations of an operating systems. Thank you all.